Welcome. It's 9 o'clock.
Past 9. 9:11.
We're going to get started on the drainage agenda. Roll call. We do have a quorum. Commissioner Palacios, Precinct 4. Commissioner H. Cuellar, and myself. We do have a quorum. Godfrey, do we have anything on the open forum?
Angela.
No, sir.
Move for approval of consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4.
Item 4, request approval to enter into a lease agreement for one Sharp copier with Global Operations DBA The Hill through the district's membership with DIR, Department of Information Resource Contract Number SDD1767/. Basically, it's approval to do a lease for one of the copiers that we need at our office.
For the what?
For a copier for our office, Commissioner.
Move for approval.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval of attached specification approval to advertise for the following: 1, RFB number 13-0110327, hauling services for cement riprap. 2, RFB number 13-0120327, pit run collision. This is our standard yearly advertisement for hauling services.
Approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5, concurrence and approval for TxDOT project related to Mile 2 West, CSJ 0921-02307, Mile 2 West from US 83 to .44 miles north of US 83. It's in precinct number 1.
Move for approval.
Second.
There's a motion second. Item 5.
All right, those in favor of the motion is made and seconded indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Item 6, requesting approval to accept bids and award construction contract, the lowest bidder meeting all required specifications for RFB number 12-0170116, Edinburgh Wastewater Treatment Plant effluent line road crossing to Osago Construction in the bid of $760,028.00. This has been approved by the engineer, and we've discussed it with the city of Edinburgh as part of the interlocal that we have in precinct number 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 7, request approval of payment as a claim for invoice number 01 to Doss Logistics, Inc. as it relates to project Mercedes Lateral Channel Crossing Improvements, mile 14.5 road, in the amount of $36,179.66. We're bringing this as a claim. It was a culvert that had collapsed that Doss Logistics had done the design work, and we had reconstructed about a year ago, and they hadn't processed their billing on it.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 8, requesting approval of final negotiated work authorization number 18 in the amount of $28,797 for engineering services with S&B infrastructure related to the construction of bridges where the proposed new ditch of the Rainbow Drain Crossing project crosses US 281 in Hidalgo County. Commissioners, this is the bridge that TxDOT is doing that we've partnered up with, where they're doing the 4 bridges on US 281.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We have no item under closed session unless the board wishes to enter, but I believe there is an addendum that Marty had brought in. Laura, are you aware of the addendum? Or Baldi? An addendum?
There is an addendum.
Okay. I don't have a copy of it. I know that Marty put it up there, Judge, for insurance purposes.
No, I believe there's going to be no action on it.
Okay.
What was that?
No action on it.
Okay.
So we have no other item.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. We'll be back in 15 minutes. It's 9:15. Next meeting starts at 9:30. Ahí sí, yo me... Empezar.
Marco. Fíjate ahorita AC. Aquí atrás.
No vino Jesse. Commissioner, ¿están listos? All right, good morning once again. We need to convene our regular Hidalgo County Commissioners Court meeting for today, February the 26th, 2013. Present are Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Palacios 2, Palacios 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bobby, can you read the prayer for us, please?
I don't have the,
Is it there?
no,
It used to be written.
I'm not sure.
Ms. Townsend? Okay. Have you got it, Steve? Go ahead, please, sir.
Almighty God, we come together today for the good of the citizens of Hidalgo County. Please give us your wisdom as we make decisions that affect them today and in the years to come. Help us to work well together, recognizing that each of us are here because we want what is best for Hidalgo County. We ask for your blessing and your guidance. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, any concerns with the consent agenda?
Yes, Judge, I have a long list of items. Monday?
Did we get a copy?
I would like to request to be pulled for discussion. Consent agenda item 2A, 2B, 16F1 and 2, 16K, 16Q, 16U, 16AA. I would like to request those people for the discussion, Judge.
All right, entertain a motion to approve subject to all those exceptions.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, on items 2A and 2B, we will be requesting no action. We'll bring those back next week.
All right. 16F and 1 and 2.
Martha Salazar for the Purchasing Department. Good morning.
Morning.
16F, 1 and 2. This morning, Precinct 2 forwarded, and I do have a copy of the funding for those two items. They were forwarded to Ms. Fong and to the court reporter, and those arrangements have been made to fully fund those two items for Precinct 2.
Marty, my understanding is that they prepare the transfers, but Budget Office is not going to get those approved until next week. That's my understanding.
Can we do
Sergio, I
subject
don't
to
know the
funding?
response to that.
Oh, you could do that also, but,
So moved.
Well, I
That's
have the
both
email that she
F1 and
provided.
2.
Right.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
What's the next one, Mr.?
Monday?
The next
Oh, the
one
next
is
one
The
is,
next one is
16K.
16Q.
Okay.
That's the one that,
Well, that was one, and, oh, I'm sorry. That one, we acknowledge this item will be taken up separately because it is an exemption for engineering services.
yeah, that item, Judge, should be discussed in the regular agenda.
Well, it can just be discussed separately after all of,
They can discuss it now.
Or you can get
It
it,
can-
you can go over it now and
yes.
get it approved.
That item is, this is requesting exemption from competitive bidding for professional services. I need that approval first.
Can we take action on
This
that?
is 16K.
Sorry?
Can we take action on that?
Is it proper, Steve, to take action and wait till,
I think we can take action as long as it's broken into two parts, declaring the exemption, approving that first, and then approving the next item.
So moved.
Second.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
The second part is the presentation of the grid of the three professionals. That is Leonel Garza Jr., 99, Professional Appraisal Services at 95, and HLH at 93. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of those scores?
So moved.
Second.
Why are we doing this in consent?
It got on consent instead of regular. It's an error on placement.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Authority for purchasing to negotiate with the #1 firm of Leonel Garza Jr. for appraisal services.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On item 16Q, we are going to be reading the correct description of the project, and that is from FM 681 to State Highway 364. That is all that is needed for that one.
So moved with the corrections.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On 16U,
Yes.
the purchasing department has sent the required language by legal counsel on the term of the agreement, and we ask that it be approved subject to their inclusion and final review by legal counsel. It's been forwarded by email to them.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Double A, 16.
And I'm sorry, I read 16AA. I'm sorry, I read the response to 16AA on 16U. 16U, we did find legal counsel's approval, and it is attached. It was done this morning.
so legal counsel has reviewed it?
Yes, on 16U, of which you approved anyway, on 16AA is the caption I read for 16U, which is the vendor has been forwarded the language that we wish to be included. We ask that it be approved subject to legal's final review.
So moved.
Second.
I think legal has reviewed it already, except they suggested some revisions. Cannot
It's
be
just
made.
the language on how to address the term of the agreement. So that's been forwarded. As soon as we get it, we'll send it to legal counsel for final review.
But you're saying it as to 16U, it's already there.
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I believe that's all we have under consent.
Yes.
Thank you very
Marty.
much.
All right, at this time, pursuant to our policy of deferring to our elected officials, we have Judge Noe Gonzalez. I believe item 9A, Judge.
First of all, thank you for allowing me to be taken up out of order. What we've got today, Judge and Commissioners, is an authorization for resubmission of the Young Adult Re-Energized Project Grant. It's money that comes from the Office of the Governor Criminal Justice Division. The grant is due on the 28th. Because the meeting was rescheduled, we have a short fuse to submit it, and it will be submitted electronically on the 28th. I'm asking that the Commission authorizes to resubmit the grant request. This is a no-match grant, and I also ask that there be an approval of the resolution for the resubmission. And in that respect, Judge, I am going to ask that if you could please do us a big favor and try to get that signed as soon as possible if the Commission and you approve it, because it needs to be submitted by us by the 28th.
If you have it with you, we can sign
I
it this
think
morning.
it was submitted with the packet, but I can get you another copy immediately.
Yeah,
Move for
I'll
approval.
do it this
So
morning.
move.
Okay.
Move for approval of 9A, 1 and 2.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's move back to open forum.
And what about three?
Monday? It was 1 and 2.
But what about I?
I think we covered everything he wanted. Just 1 and 2?
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Where do you get 3 from?
Which we look.
7.
You know, I think you're in the wrong one.
It was a 9, 9A. 9A, 1 and 2.
8.
Yes.
1 and 2.
I think you may have the wrong agenda. Todavía estás en enero.
Go ahead.
Okay, open forum. First presenter is Opal Billman.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. Joe Billman petitioned the court for a divorce. Somebody got a fantastic divorce settlement, ours. Joe didn't get any of our community property. I didn't get any of our community property. Our kids didn't get any of our community property. The court gave everything we owned to somebody else. I am not all right with that. Joe died. Somebody got a fantastic inheritance. It wasn't Joe's kids. It wasn't even anybody Joe knew. Just think about it. Joe worked 35 years for Southwestern Bell. Every day, every hour, every minute that Joe worked and was paid for his work and invested his money, the court gave for free to somebody Joe didn't even know. Joe would not be all right with that. If I went to the Cadillac dealership and bought and paid for a fancy new Cadillac, and the dealership sold me a 12-year-old worn-out car with 300,000 miles on the odometer, I would not be all right with that. Nobody would. That's why there's a law against it. It's called bait and switch fraud. Joe and I own land. The 275th District Court determined our land was excess land with no value and awarded us for a divorce settlement $650,000 of debt. The estate of Joe Billman and I still own our community property because the divorce settlement the court awarded us is unconstitutional and in noncompliance with the law. An unconstitutional court order cannot be enforced. Willis and Mildred Billman bought the north 20 acres of John H. Sherry in 1942, 71 years ago. About what has occurred, I have been told all kinds of things. Some of the things I have been told are, the city owns 5 acres of it. Somebody named Zuniga owns 5 acres of it. Some woman owns a lot in the middle of our lake. Some man donated the street. None of this is true, considering the frontage by whose authority were fences put in place by Joe and me, removed to convert small residential lots into commercial property by just including land that Joe and I own in their development. Land has history, and none of these people have any ownership. The people who developed the strip mall do not have title to the land belonging to Joe and me that they just took, paved, and built on. Most builders are careful about being sure they own the land before they build on it. In Texas, you can go out and build on land that you do not own. If you do, you can remove your buildings and pavement from the landowner's land. But if you leave them, the buildings and pavement belong to the people who own the land.
Seconds.
In whose authority was our land included in a commercial development? If your response is Jason Billman, you are wrong. It should never have happened, but Jason is the court-appointed manager of the community property of his parents. Therefore, it would be the 275th District Court who appointed him their manager for our property that is in charge. The 275th District Court should uphold the law, dismiss this case, remove it from the control of the court and me from official oppression, and Police enforced false imprisonment, and I thank you very much for your time.
Next presenter is Lydia Jeffries.
Judge, Commissioners, good morning. My name is Lydia R. Jeffrey, and I'm here with a request to Commissioner Tito Palacios to talk about the shelter in the Shrine of San Juan. The shelter is in the place too dangerous for the people to cross the street to go to the church. And my request is if they can change the shelter to inside the shrine to be safety. And other thing I want to ask you if you're gonna help me with work from the money of the Commissioners Joe Flores and the hours that they do more damage in the mobile home. I request for you to give me an answer, please. If somebody is gonna help me, because I don't have any documents to go to the police or do anything, because I don't have any documents. I don't know what was all the orders or at the first, the man who present as a contractor is not, is a painter. So I don't know nothing, and I request somebody to present me proof with the documents to go to the police to make a report and then find something or somebody to help me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Joe Rodriguez. Mr. Joe Rodriguez, next presenter. All right, then next presenter is Reverend Javier Leiva.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Reverend Leiva with Valley Interfaith, and we are here representing thousands of families who do not have adequate life insurance or health insurance. Although almost 220,000 people in Hidalgo County don't have health insurance. If Texas expanded Medicaid, this would mean that Hidalgo County alone would gain over $400,000 a year to help some of those families find care. If Texas expanded Medicaid, people who make minimum wage would finally qualify, and many working people would benefit. Last Wednesday, Valley Interfaith leaders stood with 200 other faith leaders from across Texas on the steps of the state capitol to urge our legislators and governor to support Medicaid expansion. Over 30 state legislators joined us, and 3 judges stood with us also. We urge Hidalgo County also to stand with us for a healthy Rio Grande Valley and pass a resolution in support of Medicaid expansion. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, let's move on to item 6A. Is Mr. Trevino here? All right, we're not going to take any action then on 6A, am I correct?
Correct.
All right, 6B?
Yes, good morning, Judge, Commissioners, and members of the community. Before we begin with item 6A, I'd like to ask the Commission to consider if we can move item 14B before 6A as it directly correlates.
6A, we're not going to take any action.
I'm sorry, 6B. If we can move item 14B before 6B as it pertains directly to the resolution of the Guadalupe Water Treaty. It's a presentation by Oscar Montoya.
All right.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Actually, I'm going to defer this to the Director of the Rio Grande Valley Water Authority, which is Joe Barrera. He's going to make a presentation of the situation that we're in right now with the water and the irrigation district.
Good morning, Mr. Barrera.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Mo was supposed to be here. The water master got tied up with some problems that we have in the state. As we all know, we have lots of water issues. Water issues, particularly in the valley, are more serious than it seems to be than even we had back in the 98, 99 when we had a similar drought. What has happened is that the cities are in pretty good shape with water, but the system is not in pretty good shape. And unlike most other places in the state, the irrigation districts are the ones that actually pump water to the cities. And those irrigation districts are running out of water. So what happens is they cannot charge the canals or fill the canals for the amount of water that the cities need, for the small amount of water that the cities need to draw for their use. So what has happened is the allocations have not come forward because we had no rain. Also, the 1944 treaty has, Mexico owes us close to 380,000 acre-feet of water, which is their annual supply. They by treaty are supposed to deliver an average of 350,000 acre-feet a year, and they're behind on their releases. Then on top of that, I think the Judge and I spoke recently, Mexico is now on the Conchos, where we get 80% of our water in the Rio Grande. Mexico is now building 15 more dams in the Conchos Valley, 9 of which those dams are going to directly affect flows into the Rio Grande River from the Conchos River. To put that in perspective, 80% of the water that goes into the Rio Grande comes out of the Conchos. So they're planning on keeping more water than they have in the past. Now, to go back to the treaty a little bit, that treaty was a twofold treaty, one on the Colorado and California, which the United States delivers and has never failed to deliver 1.6 million acre-feet a year. The 1906 compact in El Paso, we deliver close to 30,000 acre-feet of water to Mexico from El Paso out of Elephant Butte. Never failed to honor that part of the treaty. I'm currently asked the IBWC and TCEQ to find out how often Mexico does not honor the treaty and they get bailed out by a storm event. And what I mean by that is the debt that Mexico is to pay the United States if either one of the lakes fill up, whether it's just rain locally or Amistad or Falcon, the debt goes away. And that's happened at least twice that I know of, because I went through this as a manager of Brownsville Irrigation District back in the late 90s. You have to remember, the cities are not in trouble. All the cities have plenty of water. Their account gets filled every January the 1st. Their allotment gets filled, not so with agriculture. And the easiest way to explain that is if you had a checkbook and you started last year with $1,000 and you spent $500, come January 1, you still have $500 if you're an agriculture account. If you're a city, the state fills your account. You start the year again with $1,000. Because agriculture has not had an allocation in so long, a lot of these, well, there's 6 as of Friday, irrigation districts that have sent what is called a 60-day notice. The 60-day notice simply means within 60 days, we're going to run out of water and we're not going to be able to move water to you. Now, the way to, I guess another way to explain it, it sounds very difficult, but if you have a full pipe, the use of that the cities have may be about 2 inches to the top of that pipe or the canal, whatever it may be. And 90% of that water belongs to the irrigation district. Well, what happens is that municipal water floats on top of the ag water until it gets to where it's going, and then they suck whatever they want out of there. The cities do not have water to keep that pipe full. Talking about cities like Raymondville, that Delta Lake has to move water 52 miles, and to charge their canal takes anywhere from 500 to 750 acre feet for Raymondville to take 2 acre feet out of it on a daily basis. So you can see where this goes. It gets to the point that these canals can't be filled with municipal water, or they would run out. Municipals would run out very quickly. Another issue with keeping these canals full, Oscar and I have talked about it, is a firefighting issue. A lot of the fire departments get their water from these canals, and that may run out too. So why I'm here is that Roy Rodriguez and I sit on the same board at the authority. He also is he's the president of the City Managers Association, similar to the one that we have for ag. And we being the Managers Association, Lower Rio Grande River Authority, Region M, Development Council, and hopefully you gentlemen will help us with a resolution to our state officials, both and U.S. officials, that would help us get the State Department to put pressure on Mexico to release that water, release the debt, and also to make it, to try to pass a minute order. A minute order is simply an amendment to a treaty. And that minute order would set aside water, and I guess that's the term we need to use, set aside the water for treaty obligation and payment of the debt. Again, they owe us right now 380,000 acre feet. Going into this year, if you want to do that, it's probably closer to 468,000 acre feet, but they still have a chance to pay it. There's a 5-year cycle. And water is difficult in the valley because we just half the river belongs to us. So I'm here to ask for help.
Do you have the resolution? Do you want to read it so we can act on it?
Who's got that?
All right, the resolution for the water treaty reads as following. Whereas the 1944 treaty between the United States and Mexico provides that the United States is entitled to 1/3 of the flow reaching the main channel of the Rio Grande from Chocos, San Diego, San Rodrigo, Escondido, and Salado rivers and Las Vacas Arroyo, provided that this third shall not be less as an average amount in cycles of 5 consecutive years, that 350,000 acre feet annually, and whereas Texas water right holders are the sole beneficiaries of the United States 1/3 portion of such flow in the Rio Grande, and whereas the treaty further states that any deficits during a 5-year cycle caused by extraordinary drought, which is a year in a 5-year cycle in which there is insufficient surface water runoff for the required treaty flows to the Rio Grande on a serious accident to the hydraulic systems, must be made up within a 5-year period. And whereas the current 5-year cycle began on October 25th, 2010, and will end on October 25th, 2015, as of February 9, 2013, Mexico is approximately 392,000 acre feet behind on their deliveries. And whereas the Rio Grande Water Master has reported that our water right holders have 60% less water starting off in 2013 as compared to this time last year, due in part to the lingering drought conditions in Texas and to the continued lack of inflows from Mexico during the 5-year cycle. And whereas the Rio Grande Regional Water Planning Group, Region M, Texas Water Development Board, has determined that water requirements will exceed supply for the next 30 and 50-year planning horizons in the region on the Rio Grande dependent upon the Treaty of Mexico. And whereas the situation is expected to result in a water shortage for irrigation and for municipalities within Hidalgo County and the Rio Grande Valley. And whereas the United States gives priority to its obligations under the 1944 treaty to assure required flows of the Colorado River reach Mexico and take action to ensure that Mexico receives required flows of water from the Colorado River watershed in the United States to which it is entitled under the treaty. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court supports the efforts of the Rio Grande Regional Water Authority to request that the United States section of the International Boundary and Water Commission and the United States Department of State to pursue Mexico's formal compliance with the 1944 treaty to annually set aside water in sufficient amounts as a priority allocation to the United States and to ensure Mexico's full compliance with the 1944 treaty, dated this 26th February of 2013.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, if I may.
Yes.
Oscar. Mr. Montoya.
Yes, sir.
What else can, besides a resolution, can the county, what actions is the county prepared to take to address this issue?
At this point, Commissioner, we're meeting with, as a matter of fact, I don't want to downplay what's going on, but we're really confident that the organization that he spoke to, which we're coordinating with, is the South Texas Water Managers Association, of which the president is Roy Rodriguez from the city of McAllen's Water Authority, PUB, and they've been working along with the other cities in the area to try and come up with solutions in Austin, and we've offered to support them in any way we can. We ourselves have taken water conservation efforts, as you all know, yesterday in the fire, we're using heavy equipment as opposed to, and appreciate the commissioners offering their help on that. To fight fires rather than water. Fire Marshal came up with a really good plan to do that. And so we're just, right now, it's a coordinated effort to try and see what we can do locally. We have some of the smartest minds in Texas down here in that organization, and they're working to come up with some ideas, some different venues.
All right, Mr. Garza, you wanted to say something?
Yes, thank you for allowing me the time. My name is Humberto Garza with Office of U.S. Congressman Filemon Vela. 12 days ago, we sent out a joint letter, Congressman Vela alongside Congressman Pete Gallegos, Congressman Henry Cuellar, Congressman Ruben Hinojosa sent out a letter to Eduardo Medina Mora, the Mexico's ambassador to the United States, demanding that they abide by this water treaty. Alongside, we copied Ed Ursina, the IBWC commissioner, again with the same expectations that they honor the 1944 Guadalupe Water Treaty. I can come back sooner, I hope, than later, and come back with hopefully some product of what those communications have in turn.
What communities in our county are going to be affected? Do we know if, in fact, we're not successful?
Well, currently the ones that are in the 60-day notice is Mercedes, Wesco, Donna just got put in there, North Alamo Water Supplies, which supplies a lot of the Precinct 1 area, Commissioner, and then Elsa, Edcouch, La Villa. In that order is how the water flows. So the further you are in that line, the worse you are off. So the Delta Lake would be significantly affected. We have the La Jolla Water District, La Jolla itself. We have the central area is pretty well far. San Juan, Alamo, and Edinburgh are still in good shape, but those are the cities that are currently in the 60-day notice.
All right. Mr. Barrera, you want to say something else?
Yes, just to follow up, I was in Austin yesterday, and it appears that our state senators and representatives, the first bill on the agenda next week would be pass a resolution to the State Department supporting our efforts down here to try to get set aside water. So we've been working up there quite a bit, trying to get some help, and it looks like we're going to get it. Carlos Rubenstein, Eddie Lucio III, and I'm not sure who else is going. They're going to meet with Congressman Vela and several and go visit with the State Department. I believe that's on the 14th.
Am I correct that we don't have any jurisdiction? That's a international treaty, that it's
correct.
A federal issue. Neither Austin or the state or us have any jurisdiction. It all falls on the federal government.
That's correct. But back when this happened in the late 90s, we put so much pressure on people that it ended up getting agriculture some grant money through NADBank. I've been working on trying to get that done again so we can line some of these earthen canals that were built in the early 1900s. We're trying to get some grant money from them. I don't know if that's going to work yet again, but we made so much noise back in 2000. If you remember, we blocked the bridge with tractors. We did all that kind of stuff, and it made the national news. We hope to make it again. And by making a little noise, maybe we can get them to release it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Can we have an update every week on the water?
No problem, Commissioner. Update as to how things are going with the Austin trips and stuff like that, no problem. And also, we'll keep in touch. They're going to go ahead and put us in the meetings at the Water Authority. We'll be there monthly. Now, they meet monthly, so I'll give an update on them monthly, but I'll be happy to put something on the Commissioner's Court on a weekly basis. No problem, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Judge.
If I can get a copy of the resolution, I'll take it back with me to Washington.
All right, sir.
Just ensure that the item gets on the agenda.
Monday, sir. Sir, I'm sorry.
That we have the item on the agenda for
Just
discussion.
make sure that we put it onto the, our agenda item.
Not a problem, sir.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Next item.
For item 6C, the resolution in support for the Medicare expansion, I'd like to ask our Director for Health Department for Hidalgo County, Eddie Olivares, to come forward.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm here this morning to review and read a resolution in regards to the Medicaid expansion program here in Texas. We had Reverend Leyva give a presentation during open forum. I'd like to call Ann Cass to come forward from Equal Voices and say a few words on this before the resolution is read.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
I am here with the Equal Voice Network, particularly with the Health Working Group, and we represent about 28 organizations, nonprofits on our healthcare working group. For over 3 years, we've worked very hard with the Texas Well and Healthy organization, the Children's Defense Fund, and also the Center for Public Policy Priorities. We graciously thank you for permitting us to get this resolution on your agenda for your consideration. As we all know, the Supreme Court gave expanded adult Medicaid as an option to the states. Expanded Medicaid, which we do call adult Medicaid, people understand it easier, would cover all adults, male and female, who make 138% of poverty from the ages of 19 to 64. If you know anyone who has 2 children or more who make $14 or less an hour, they would have health insurance under this expanded Medicaid. Amazingly, our governor refused to participate in the program. His claim is that we cannot afford it as a state. However, the federal government will pay 100% of the cost for the first 3 years and 90% of the cost thereafter. For Hidalgo County, that means $400 million that would be coming here the first 3 years to help the tens of thousands of young adults, men, women, parents, and workers in our community who are presently uninsured. I know we all want healthy parents. We all want a healthy workforce. We need to let Austin know that this is something that we need here in Hidalgo County. You would be the first county commissioner court in this region to endorse this resolution. We've been working also with Cameron County. The front page of the Brownsville Herald today said that they're ready to endorse it on Thursday. We have it on the COGS agenda for Thursday as well for them to endorse. Surprisingly, Mr. Emmett with Harris County has endorsed this resolution, as well as the Dallas County and Dallas Regional Chamber. The Texas Hospital Association and the Texas Medical Association have also endorsed it. So we're here today hoping you'll be the first county in our region again to endorse the expanded Medicaid. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Judge, I'd like to call forward Mr. Jose Hinojosa with Valley Interfaith.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Again, Valley Interfaith has represents thousands of people, families throughout the valley, and we really are asking you to support this resolution because it affects us, many of us personally. And I'll give you a personal story if you give me several minutes. My wife was diagnosed with cancer over 2.5 years ago. Fortunately, I have insurance. She is covered. When she was first diagnosed, there was only one doctor here in the valley that could treat her. She was here 1 week a month, and that was it. The other 3 weeks, there was nobody to treat her gynecological cancer. We had to go to Houston, which is where we ended up going for treatment. Over 2.5 years, our expenses have been over $200,000, and that's because I have insurance. If we don't have insurance, who would be paying for these services? There would be nobody paying for these services. Women would die. It is very, very important that we pass this resolution. We need to get more people to see doctors. We want to have a medical school. We've already got the patients here that need the care. We need expansion of Medicaid. It's very important to all of us. It not only for me personally, but also for the hospital that I work with. All the hospitals are going to need the Medicaid reimbursement that this expansion is offering. So it's going to be very important that everybody, and we're urging you to be the commission that takes the lead in this area. So thank you for your time, and we really ask for your support.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, with your permission, I'd like to read the resolution. Whereas Texas has the highest rate of uninsured at 23% and underinsured in the country, whereas 219,213 residents comprising 28.3% of Hidalgo County's population are uninsured, and whereas Medicaid helps over 2.5 million Texans children, but Medicaid covers only about 225,000 of their parents. Whereas the expansion of Medicaid would provide eligibility to more Texans and allow them to have access to Medicare that they need. And whereas getting parents health coverage is one of the biggest things we can do to create a productive workers and ensure the health and economic stability of Texas families. And whereas the preventative care will allow newly eligible Medicaid participants to receive primary care rather than emergency room care, saving both money and lives. And whereas covering the uninsured means better premium value for Texans with private health insurance by lowering the cost for everyone. And whereas Texas hospitals provide over $5 billion a year in uncompensated care, and our local county tax help pay for much of this coverage. Texans through Medicaid will lower county costs for the overall cost. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that Hidalgo County supports the expansion of Medicaid coverage to all Texas U.S. citizen adults living at or below the 130th percentile of the federal poverty level, and calls on the federal, state, and local healthcare leaders to work together to collaborate to craft a plan to improve Medicaid delivery in Texas. Signed on this day, the 26th day of 2013, 26th day of February 2013.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 Motion carries.
Sir, is there possible to have a picture taken, sir, or do we have time for that? Certainly. This is a very important thing. Valley Interfaith, and everybody, you guys come forward.
No, thank you for what you guys did.
Judge, with your permission, Judge, I'd like to see if we can go to item.
Just a minute, Eddie.
Okay.
We have a policy here at the court that we move up any
Yes, sir.
item related to our elected officials, and I notice we have our sheriff here, Sheriff Lupe Trevino in the audience. Sheriff, what item are you here on, sir?
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir.
We're at number 10, right?
You can read it here.
Judge, we're asking for a creation of
That's
a...
item number 10?
Yes, that's right, I'm sorry. Number 10, 10A.
Okay.
For the creation of a community liaison director. The funds for this position are not going to impact in any way our general fund, but comes strictly out of our House Bill 65, which is our asset forfeiture fund. So it has no impact whatsoever on the general fund. One of the things that we have found out over the years, and one of the reasons that we've been so successful in reducing our crime rate consistently for the last 6, 7 years, is because of our community outreach programs. If we don't have the ears and the eyes of the people and the confidence of the public in our capacities as crime fighters and as public servants, then we're not going to be able to find any success whatsoever. So we have found part of the key. And having a director and reorganizing and restructuring our community outreach programs and centralize them under one director, I think is going to create a lot of benefit for us in furthering our reduction of the crime rate, as we have consistently done for the last 5 to 6 years.
Move for approval. A 1, 2, and 3. Second. 1, 2, and 3.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. If there's anything else, I'll let Captain Gonzalez follow up on it.
Good morning, Commissioner. Judge.
Morning, sir.
We have 2 more items. Also, requesting authorization for the county judge to execute the 2012 Chapter 59 Asset Forfeiture Report. That would be B.
Move for approval.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And requesting, which would be C, requesting authorization for the county judge to execute the 2012 Equitable Sharing Agreement and certification report.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. All right, let's go back, Mr. Olivares.
Yeah.
Let's complete your items, please, sir.
Yeah, Judge, we're going to go to item 11A under the Indigent Healthcare Program.
Judge, Bobby's here. Judge, Commissioners, under 11A, discussion and action, including but not limited to indigent health care programs and expenditures. One of the things I wanted to bring out, sir, is that there was a letter put out by the Texas Conference of Urban Counties. You all got a copy of one? That particular letter was put out last week in regards to a House Bill 10, which addresses the reformulating of the disproportionate share of funding in Texas. Disproportionate share of funding is what helps pay for indigent services, uncompensated care through the private sector and hospitals and public sector. This proposal would greatly affect our disproportionate share by several millions of dollars here in Hidalgo County with our hospitals if this House bill were to go forward. This letter indicates, since Hidalgo County's name is a member of the association, it indicates that we're in support of that. I would encourage that you all review this. Since we have no public hospitals in our community, they're all private, this would not be very supportive of our health care program in South Texas and would greatly impact uncompensated care services here in South Texas. I wanted to bring this to your attention for discussion and review. That was it.
Eddie, what would you recommend, that the Commissioners Court pass a resolution against it, or what is your recommendation?
I think one of the things is that under Commissioners Court, that you may want to get in contact directly with the Urban Counties Conference and let them know that, you know, not all 254 counties in Texas are supportive of this. In fact, I know that Webb County may be doing the same thing, or may not be supportive of this. I know Cameron County may not be supportive of this because since there is no public hospital, that would significantly lessen the amount of federal and state money that goes to the hospitals to pay for uncompensatory care.
Well, since you are a point person on healthcare, Eddie, why don't you prepare a, whatever it is, either a letter or a resolution or a statement letting the proper individuals know what our feelings are on this issue.
Very good, sir. I just wanted to come and let you know, this is a very important, I want to make sure that it was on the record and that you all knew about it, sir. And I'll take care of that documentation, sir, and Bobby and I will work on it together.
I think the consensus is that we're going to follow your lead.
Yes, sir.
What impact do you think it'll have money-wise?
Sir, the figures they're talking about could be as much as $10 to $20 million less in disproportionate share that would be given to our hospitals in our area.
Okay.
I mean, that's a preliminary number. It's not a hard number, but that's based on some general information. Thank you,
All
sir.
right, well, put it on for next week so we can vote on it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And that took care of both A and B?
Yes, sir. That will take care of both A and B.
All right.
No, there's no action on B, right?
We do not have any action on B. I know there's some other action items on the agenda later on to discuss that, but on B, there is no action.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, okay. All right, we have Mr. Marty Cantu, our constable, a newly elected constable for Precinct 2, is also here. What item?
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. I have two items on the agenda. The first is 8D. Discussion, consideration, approval to appoint deputy constables by Constable Martin Cantu, Constable Precinct 2, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code Section 86.011 as follows. Ramiro Martinez and Jaime Puente. These are the two vacant positions that I have now.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The second item is 8C, and that's in coordination with Precinct 2. I have Raul speak on that.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Item 8C, this is Precinct 2 and Constable Precinct 2. Judge, we're asking approval to transfer 2 employees that are currently assigned to Precinct 2 as code enforcement officers as listed below. They're from their slot number 012, Deputy Constable Step 2, and slot 013, Deputy Constable Step 2. And we would like to, in coordination with the constable, transfer these 2 positions to the constable as deputy constables. And that would be also item number 3, approval of the inter-department transfer and approval of the revised salary schedule.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On 8C2, approval to appoint Leobardo Ortiz Trevino and Leonel R. Vecchio Jr. as deputy constables by Martin and Cantu, Constable Precinct 2, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code Section 86.011.
Second.
And we're transferring them from where? From what department?
From Precinct 2 Commissioner's Office Sanitation to Precinct 2 Constable's Department.
All right, so your request applies to 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
And the motion is so states.
Include 2, 3, and 4.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Constable. All right, let's go back to item 6D as in David.
Yes, item 6D, well, we're going to have actually Rick Alvarez, and that's for discussion and appropriate action regarding Hidalgo County's legislative agenda for the 83rd session of the Texas Legislature and other legislative issues.
Morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Rick Olivares, County Judge's Office.
Now, as I understand it, Mr. Alvarez, you went and contacted each commissioner and discussed what issues were important to their departments?
That's correct,
And,
Judge.
also the department heads of the departments within the county?
That's correct, Judge.
And these are recommendations that they're making. They're not necessarily yours, but they're recommendations that are being made and are being requested by the various department heads or elected officials.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Before you, and like the judge stated, each commissioner got a copy of the packet, the legislative packet, and I did go into detail as far as the information in the packet. If you open the packet, you'll see a table of contents, pretty much guides you through the packet. If we go to page 1, we have the Hidalgo County General Policy. I recommend this as a general policy for the county, and it reads very simple, and to the extent permitted by law, Hidalgo County will support legislation, one, that where possible and where interests are similar, Hidalgo County will coordinate its legislative agenda with other political jurisdictions and key community stakeholders in the region and provide assistance to those entities. Number 2, that we will support increased economic development opportunities for the citizens of Hidalgo County. Number 3, that will increase revenues to Hidalgo County for previously imposed unfunded or underfunded mandates. Number 4, that will enhance or provide more revenues for state-provided services in Hidalgo County. Number 5, that will protect and enhance county revenue sources. And number 6, that will promote local decision and control for Hidalgo County. And 7, that will reduce costs to Hidalgo County. That's our general policy, and I recommend that we go with a general policy for the 83rd legislative session. The second part of the packet, if we turn to page 2, this is where I had 2 legislative forums back in August and back in November, and invited the county departments to participate in the legislative process and to give us the issues that the departments have. The first issue, we talk about unfunded mandates. We talk about this every session. My recommendation is that we support the passage of a constitutional amendment that an authorized referendum to protect local governments from unfunded mandates. Number 2 is the education issue. As we all know, the University of Texas system announced plans to merge the University of Texas Pan American, the University of Texas Brownsville, and the Regional Academic Health Center at the University of Texas Board of Regents meeting. The recommendation there is to recognize and support the merger of the University of Texas Brownsville, the University of Texas Pan American, and the Regional Academic Health Center for the creation of a new university to include a medical school. If we move forward on the budget item, the issue there is currently the Commissioner's Court of a county by order may impose an optional county road and bridge fund not to exceed $10. The recommendation there is to ask the legislatures to amend that to increase a road and bridge fund to 15. That would generate more revenues for the county commissioners for the road and bridge fund.
Well, but have you studied the impact that it's going to have?
Once we go to the legislature, Judge, we'll ask for a fiscal impact from the Legislative Council. But currently, there's no study done locally, other than the discussions with budget that every year, yearly, we have about 500,000 motor vehicles registered, and it would generate revenue about $4 million.
But these are monies that I thought were designated for the RMA.
No, Judge, we're not talking about the RMA funds. We're only talking about the $10 for registering a vehicle that goes to the road and bridge fund.
But that's where the RMA gets its money, isn't it?
Yeah, the $10
there's an additional $10.
You're trying to increase it to 5, and the 5 is what you're talking about for road and bridge?
That's correct, Judge. We're not talking about the RMA. The RMA does get an additional $10 from the registration of motor vehicles.
Okay. Go ahead.
Under the Elections Department, the issue is the voter assistance oath. Current law requires a person selected by a voter for assistance to take an oath prior to rendering assistance in sworn in that he will not
persuade in any matter how the voter should vote. The recommendation there is to amend the election code and require and add to the voter assistance oath that the person assisting is not the voter's employer, an agent of the voter's employer, or an officer or agent of a labor union to which the voter belongs. The second one under the election department is electioneering. Current law prohibits electioneering within 100 feet of a polling location. The issue there, or the recommendation, is to require that a governing body choose a polling place that allows for the 100 feet electioneering provision. And the third one is a voter also addresses the voter assistance. Currently, a voter is eligible to receive assistance in marking the ballot if the voter cannot prepare the ballot because of physical disability that renders the voter unable to write or see, or an inability to read the language in which the ballot is written. The recommendation there is to amend the election code to allow the presiding judge, who is in charge of and responsible for the management and conduct of the election at the polling place, to determine whether a voter is eligible for assistance.
And these recommendations are being made by the elections administrator?
That's correct, Judge.
All right. And the tax collector, what are his recommendations?
The tax collector, under this issue, I talked to Mr. Varrial, and he had no issues with it.
They're what?
For the electioneering, under the election?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were through with the elections office.
Yes, we are, Judge. We're going to move forward. I did have a meeting with the committee, the Fines and Fees Committee, Mr. Ray Salazar, and I also talked to Mr. Paul Varrial, our tax assessor collector, about the issue regarding the scofflaw. Currently, a county that has a contract under Transportation Code may impose an additional $20 to a person who fails to pay fine, fee, or tax to the county by the date on which the fine, fee, or tax is due, or a person who fails to appear in connection with a complaint, citation, information, or indictment in a court in which criminal proceeding is pending against the owner. The recommendation is to allow the county that has a county scofflaw program in accordance with the Transportation Code to impose an additional $20 to that person who fails to pay a fine, fee, or tax to the county by the date on which the fine, fee, or tax is due, or a person who fails to appear in connection with a complaint in which the criminal proceeding is pending against the owner. Currently, we're asking that we amend that so the county could use those $20 to use to enforce the collection of those fines and fees. And that goes to the second issue. Our Fines and Fee Collection Committee came up with a county enhanced collection program, which we call the County Scofflaw Enhanced Program. And we're trying to amend the law so we can use those $20 for the enforcement of collecting those fees. And that goes to the expenses incurred by providing either equipment or manpower for the collection of the fines and fees. If the Commissioner Court recalls, there's about $30 to $40 million in uncollectible fines and fees, and that's what we're trying to target.
Mr. Alvarez, currently the county can use those $20, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But it's limited to what, there's a gray area as far as the $20 is concerned. If we move forward to the transportation infrastructure, the issue there is the creation of the transportation reinvestment zones in Hidalgo County. There's areas adjacent to those zones that are undeveloped that can either positively or negatively impact the development of the region. The recommendation there is to allow the county zoning authority to make sure that we develop the areas to promote growth beneficial to all residents. I did speak with the RMA project engineer, Pilar Rodriguez, and other people from our office concerning this, and this is a concern for them once we start allowing these transportation reinvestment zones to grow.
It's a concern. Are they in favor of this or they're not?
They're in favor.
Keep on going.
Under public health and public safety, the first issue is Hidalgo County has incurred major problems in the unincorporated areas of the county in connection with illegal disposal of solid waste materials for many years, with great fiscal expenses to the county to monitor, clean, and remedy the problem of illegal solid waste disposal. The recommendation there is to support legislation under the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 372, authorizing the county to undertake curbside collection services that confers a special benefit on a definable part of the county and impose a non-ad valorem special assessment fee per year to be levied on residential properties in the unincorporated areas of the county. The second issue under there, under public health, is the regulation of roadside vendors. Currently, the law provides that the Commissioner's Court of a county with a population of more than 1.3 million by order may regulate the following in the unincorporated areas of the county if they occur on a public highway, a road, a right-of-way, or in a parking lot. The sale by a vendor of food or merchandise, including live animals, the erection, maintenance, or placement of a structure by a vendor of food or merchandise, including live animals, and the solicitation of money. The recommendation there is to amend the law to include a county with a population of 750,000 by order to regulate these vendors. And we're targeting live animals also with this recommendation.
Well, when you say also, what else are you targeting?
We're targeting, by that I mean, Judge, we don't, the recommendation is to also exclude the sale of food from the current legislation.
In other words, you're only trying to apply it to the sale of animals on the side of the road.
Live animals, that's correct.
Go ahead.
Under planning, on page 5, the issue is current law allows counties to require building code standards, inspection, and notice for certain residential construction in unincorporated areas of a county. The law prohibits a county to impose fees to fund the implementation of the provisions. In addition, the law also excludes individuals who build their own home from the penalty, a Class C misdemeanor, for failure to provide notice to a county of certain building schedules and inspection results. The recommendation by our planning department is to amend the law to allow the county to impose fees not to exceed $100 per project to fund the implementation of the provisions, amend the law to extend the Class C misdemeanors to individuals who build their own homes. The second issue is current law gives the county authority to regulate its one single-family dwelling per lot rule, but having to go to the county attorney or district attorney to enforce a rule is untimely and inefficient. The recommendation is to allow the law allow the county to go to the Justice of the Peace for enforcement of the single-family dwelling per lot rule to expedite the process and free county and district attorneys of the caseload. The third issue is the Transportation Code grants counties the authority to provide street lighting along a county road and to impose a fee on benefiting landowners for the street lights. No enforcement authority was given for non-payment of such fees. Lack of enforcement authority has kept Hidalgo County from pursuing more street lighting projects because of the prospect of having to cover the expenses. The recommendation is to amend the Transportation Code to provide the county with enforcement authority for non-payment of fees imposed for street lights established in subdivisions located in the county. We move on to environmental, also on page 5. Currently, the county has no authority to regulate scrap tire businesses that are not regulated by TCEQ. The regulation, the county would be able to address illegal disposal of scrap tires within county right-of-ways and on private property when they are deemed to be a threat to human health and safety. The recommendation by our environmental department is to amend either the definition of rubbish under the Texas Health and Safety Code or solid waste under the Texas Health and Safety Code to include scrap tires so that a county would be allowed to regulate scrap tire businesses that do not fall under the TCEQ regulation. The last page, page 6, is under veterans. Our Veterans Department, Mr. De Los Santos, submitted these issues. The first one is the purpose of the Hazelwood exemption, also called the Hazelwood Act, is to provide an education benefit to honorably discharged or separated Texas veterans and to eligible dependent children and spouses of Texas veterans. That's currently under the Texas Education Code. The recommendation from this is state funding was not authorized or appropriated for implementation of the Hazelwood Act. So we strongly support state funding for the continuance of the Hazelwood Act and the Hazelwood Legacy Act to college tuition benefits. And the last issue before you, Commissioners and Judge, is currently the U.S. flag is flown at half-staff on the day of the funeral as per the Governor's office. The recommendation is to support the U.S. flag flown starting when the soldiers' remains arrive to the community and throughout the funeral services and burial. This concludes my presentation of the 2013 legislative agenda. I will ask the court for action.
Well, I'm not sure if the court is ready. I'm not sure if there's too many items. Yeah. Have you discussed it with each one of the commissioners?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, in some of these packages, I had a signature block for the commissioners to sign, and Precinct 4 commissioner signed it as to form and substance. Waiting for Precinct 1 and 2. Also, they've committed to me.
Copy.
Yes, sir.
We got a copy, but we have not, and we looked at it.
Why don't you take another
we need
week
some more time on that,
and visit with all of the commissioners again and myself. Excuse me.
Okay, Judge. We'll
and
bring
put it on the agenda for next week so we can vote on it in time for some action to be taken at the legislature.
Okay, Judge. Thank you very much.
How does this compare to the State Association recommendations?
TAC? You're talking about Texas Issues to Counties?
The State Association of Counties.
Well, these apply specifically to Hidalgo County.
What else? Is there anything that included in the association that would support some of these recommendations?
Currently, I did have a discussion with the legislative staff with TAC about a month ago. They are waiting for a brief of our packet, and I'm supposed to bring it to their attention. Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. All right. So you got a week to put it together.
All right.
And in the end, when it says approved as to form and substance, you only got my name on it. You need to include everybody's name and everybody to sign off that's in support of these recommendations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, go ahead, sir.
We still have item 6E, and then Mr. Jesse Trevino just arrived, and that's the item that we didn't take action on 6A.
Let's proceed with 6E. The young lady behind you that's ready to go.
Great. So for 6E, we have Adela Ortega with the Hidalgo County Historical Commission for the approval of the reappointment of members by the Hidalgo County Historical Commission for the 2013-2014 term.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Honorable Judge and Commissioners. I'm honored to be present here with you. On October, sometime in October, the nominating committee that I appointed on the April meeting met, and recommendations to the commission were 6 members to be added to our commissioners, to our historical commission. From Precinct 1 is Jesse de la Fuente, Felicia Mercedes. From Precinct 3, Maria Hurtado. She's a historian and a retired librarian. From Precinct 3, Blas Loya Jr. He has researched for us in the past on his own. It took 10 years to do a marker. They just dedicated in June on a soldier at the cemetery. Jeanette Garcia, Precinct 4, she works with special collections at Pan Am University. With our growth in the commission in Hidalgo County, we have a lot of historical materials that cannot be stored in individual homes, so we have them stored in special collections at Pan Am to be used by the public. And then Dr. James B. Barrera, he works at SDC, he's a historian, and he was interested in serving in our commission, and will be researching our historical markers in that committee. And Lisa Diaz, she's a director of the Pump House in Hidalgo, and lives in Hidalgo. And I think she belongs to Precinct 2. These are before you for your recommendations, for your approval.
Yes, sir, you had a question, sir?
I was going to ask, who are the rest of the members from Precinct 2? Do we have anybody else?
Anyone else from Precinct 2?
Oh, we have a list that was added to your agenda packet, and we have 37 members. The ones I just read to you are the new incoming nominated from the nominating committee. For your approval. And then we have 37 members that are by precincts, and I can name them for you if you would like.
The issue then is, do we accept the report of the
The new.
nominations committee?
We don't have a new one for
How many
Precinct
do
1?
we have for Precinct 2?
No, not at this time.
Do you, Mike, do you have another list for a commissioner? Or can we use that list? That's about it, Tito.
Yes, they're broken down by precincts. We have from Precinct 1, Fran Isabel, Glenn Housley and Margaret Housley, Marjorie Johnson, Fernando Flores, Oscar Martinez, Hilda Ibarra Thompson, Jesse de la Fuente, Reverend Gregory Lumbas, and Cecilia Gutierrez. From Precinct 2, Alicia de la Rosa, Spud Brown, Anita Vela, Aida Escobar, Carlene Carranza Fry, Lisa Diaz. For Precinct 3 is Eddie Olivares, Adela Ortega, Rigo Ordaz. Virginia and George, I think, belongs to Precinct 4. They're put in the wrong precinct. Amancio Chapa, Precinct 3. Lisa Adams, Precinct 3. Rick Silva, Precinct 3. Harry Rasowski, Precinct 3. Omar Rivera. Harry works with Parks and Wildlife, and I think he's working in West Laco. Maria Hurtado, Dr. James Barrera, and Blas Loya, which I just mentioned on the new nomination.
Thank you, ma'am. I think we've got enough
How long are the
information.
terms?
I'm sorry?
How long are their terms?
We served for 2013, 2015, 2 years.
Okay.
So
Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second to approve the nominations by the nominating committee to membership in the Hidalgo County Historical Commission. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Any questions for me? The commission has done a wonderful job. For your information, we have 160 markers already out, 11 pending to be installed and have a dedication. We have inventoried 150 cemeteries, private and local. And with us as members is Eddie Olivares. Would you stand? And Valerie. I'm honored to have Valerie present before you. She has worked 20 years to make the Black Cemetery possible, and we have a real nice Juneteenth celebration every year with her hard work. Valerie, you want to stand? And of course, being February, Black month to recognize, Black History Month to be recognized at this time.
Thank you.
And I thank you for having me.
No, thank you very much for you and the members of your commission committee for the work that you do.
Thank you so much.
Can you proceed, please, sir?
Yes. So Mr. Jesse Trevino had just gotten here, and before I read the resolution, I just want to say something about him real quick. On Thursday, I had a very humbling experience to interview him when I drafted up the resolution for the county. And for a 23-year-old like me, who thinks they can take over the world sometimes, it brings you down and settles you to understand that there was people before you who really made those sacrifices in the Hispanic education community to give us the opportunities that we have today. So he told me about one particular story where he was a 20-year-old teacher, just graduated, teaching in Alice, and he wanted to take a group of about 15 Hispanic students to UT Austin, and the principal wouldn't let him. So he said, well, I'm still going to take him, so too bad. So he took those students out there to UT Austin, and Hispanics at that time in the 50s managed to go to college, finish college, and are now productive members of the community. So he's done a lot for the community here in Hidalgo, Tripla Club and everything else. People know him by that. And the resolution expands on that a little bit. So I'm going to read the resolution at this point. It says, whereas Jesse Trevino has dedicated his life to his family, his work, and his community. Whereas Mr. Jesse Trevino was born in Alice, Texas on Christmas Day, 1925, and has since 1959 been a lifelong resident of Hidalgo County with his family, wife of 60 years, Mary Lou Beltran Trevino, and two children, David and Laura Trevino. Whereas in 1959, he established his own insurance agency as an independent agent with the offices across the valley and San Antonio, which would later provide him with opportunities to give back to the communities in ways unseen before. Whereas Mr. Jesse Trevino is the original founder of Hidalgo County's famous Tripla Club, where he would invite elected officials and not let them talk about politics in order to network and create a compadrismo among community and political and business leaders in order to establish working community relations, and presented every year the Tripero Distinguished Award. Whereas Mr. Jesse Trevino is also a pioneer for education among the Hispanic community, being a founding member of organizations like COSTEP and IDRA, and having served on Region 1 Service Center Board for 9 years, and also taking part of the formation of the Mexican American School Board Association. Whereas Mr. Jesse Trevino has been recognized for his tireless service to our community by organizations such as the State Board of Education with the distinct Heroes for the Children Award and other organizations in the county. And whereas Mr. Jesse Trevino, at the age of 87, till this day, continues to serve our community on various boards of education. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes and honors Mr. Jesse Trevino for his outstanding service and commitment to the citizens of Hidalgo County. Presented this date, 26th of February, 2013.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Congratulations, sir.
Well, thank you. I want to thank the judge and the commission for the honor that you've given me today. And I was going to say a few words, but I think he said enough. I'm real proud to have been part of education here in the Valley because we need it. And one of the biggest things that we did, that I didn't say to Mr. Ramirez here, is that I was part of a committee of about 40 when the community college was trying to be formed. We were successful in doing that by establishing that, and that's one of the greatest accomplishments that we have, because right now, as I see it, it's something that we needed in the Valley. The state was neglected us to have this kind of community college here. So now we have over 30,000 students that are taking part in this South Texas College, and I'm so proud to have campuses in Rio Grande and Weslaco and here in Edinburgh to really, and McAllen, and really establish that thing. So I want to thank all the people that have taken part in my success here in McAllen and in the county. And I will remember that Commissioner Palacios, I think you beat me to the Region 1. That's when you started your political career, I think. And I went into business. So I want to thank you all for the honor that you've given me today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, let's take a picture, but recognize that young lady behind him.
Oh, it's my wife of not 60, but 61 years.
Ya no.
¿De cuántas organizaciones ha sido miembro? ¿Del Paso?
Which not.
Jesse, te la mandamos porque we're going to have to get 2 more commissioners. ¿Está bien? No, thank you very much for all you have done throughout your lives, sir, for the betterment of our community.
Congratulations, Jesse.
Well, we're going to be, we're lacking a quorum, so we're going to be taking a short break. All right, let me have your attention, please. We've only got about 25 minutes left before we have to allow the city commissioners here in the city of Edinburgh to have their building back. At which time we probably will be recessing the balance of the meeting until Friday. If there's anyone here that feels they cannot wait until Friday to have their item acted upon, please let us know. All right, Mr. Guerra, item 7.
Judge, no action items 7A, 1, and 2. We won't act on 7B. 7C, I do need authority to submit a Tier 2 chemical inventory report with an associated fee of $100.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, item D, there's some paperwork that needs to be completed on behalf of the Constable Precinct 5 end-of-year reporting. So I'm requesting authorization to submit the various paperwork and to have authority to sign said paperwork along with any signatures that require the county judge to sign as well. And this is as required by the Office of Attorney General.
Together, what about the fund balance?
I'm working on that as well.
All right, thank you.
The transfer precinct 2.
Is there anyone here from the Attorney General's office on the issue of the modular buildings? All right, go ahead, brother.
Did we get a vote or?
Action on.
Yes.
Action on, okay.
No, we did not. What item are we talking about?
D, the Constable Precinct 5.
There's a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E and F can wait till Friday, Judge. Item G, there's 2 bills that need to be processed for court-appointed attorneys. Ricardo Palacios, Noe Gonzalez, claims amount $1,200 and $3,375 respectively. This is for representation of indigent defendants. Again, it would be with the county auditor's auditing procedures and county treasurer issuing the check.
Are the auditor recommending payment?
Yes, Judge, if you approve it, I think the county policy is that the statute of limitations is applied to any of those invoices. The services were rendered, but it's past the 4-year statute of limitation. So if the court approves it, I can process payment.
Move for approval.
Second, with a comment Ricardo Palacio is not related to.
All right. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
H and I, Judge, can wait till Friday. J, there is a settlement check that we're recommending approval, $1,226.17. That would settle with State Farm Insurance Company.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. You know that there should be, legally, we're not obligated to pay, so I'm not suggesting we don't pay them, but we need to send out a letter to the bar or somebody letting him know that if they don't submit an invoice within 4 years, they may not get compensated.
Which,
And the one we just approved on
Jay?
Palacios and Gonzalez.
Oh,
That's the whole purpose of statutes of limitation. But we've already acted on it, but I'm just suggesting we do that for the future.
Would that be proper, Steve, for the court to submit a letter to attorney to that effect? Okay.
All right, go ahead, Balde.
Item K, again, settlement check from Travelers Insurance Company, $17,652.30, and that's to settle an accident with one of our county
So
vehicles.
second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item L can wait till Friday, Judge Commissioners. Item M is the funding agreement with South Texas History, Museum of South Texas History for the year 2013. That dollar amount is $360,000.
so moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, I know we have constables in the audience. Item 8A for Constable Precinct 1. It is the asset, Chapter 59 Asset Forfeiture Auditor Report is requested by the Attorney General's office. It just requires court action.
Judge, and I have audited all of those reports as per your request and issue letters to that effect.
All right, sir.
Any,
Would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
any concern?
Not under Constable Precinct 1.
I need a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And B, AB?
Item B is also authority for the county judge to execute the 2012 Equitable Sharing Agreement and Certification Report.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, item 8C is the transfer of personnel from Precinct 2 Sanitation to Constable
We've
Precinct.
already done that.
Oh, I'm sorry, you've done that already. My apologies.
We've done B.
You've done D, E.
Yeah, we've done D, and we now are on E.
On E, again, that is also for Constable Precinct 3. It is the Chapter 59 Asset Forfeiture Report by law enforcement agency. They're requesting authority for
Second.
the county judge to execute.
Okay, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F is the Equitable Sharing Agreement and Certification Report for Hidalgo County Constable Precinct 3.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item G is in accordance with Article 2.134 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedures. It is the 2012 Racial Profiling Report as presented by the
Second.
precinct.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, item H is Constable 4 had called me and asked me to present. He's asking to appoint Mr. Orlando Lopez as a Reserve Deputy Constable in accordance with Texas Local Government Code Section 86.012.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item I is the fiscal year 2012 Chapter 59 Asset Forfeiture Report for Constable Precinct 4.
So moved.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Do you want to proceed to executive?
Yes, we do need to go into
I
executive.
would
Judge.
suggest, though, that for Friday, when we cover the modular report, that we invite the Attorney General's office.
Yes.
They
On-
had
on
a serious concern about
The
what's going on.
consolidation of their offices and the docket cases that will be increased.
All right.
Yes.
At this time, pursuant to 551-071 and 072, would entertain a motion to proceed to executive session.
Judge.
Second.
Barbara, did we take your item?
Monday?
The rest will come back?
We're just gonna go to executive session, come back, and then we're gonna continue Friday.
No, he'll be back.
All right, it's 11:36. We're back in open session. Mr. Guerra?
Judge, Commissioners, I have, just real quickly said here, you want to present that item, please, on that grant? We need to take action on that.
We need action on the HIDA task force.
What item are we talking about?
Item 16A, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is authorization and approval to accept the award grant number G13SS0002A in the amount of $329,138. Also, the certification of revenues of that grant and the appropriation of those funds and the approval of the salary schedule. Excuse me? 16A, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 16B would be authorization for the judge to execute the fiscal year 2012 Chapter 59 asset forfeiture report for the HIDA task force. If I can get approval of that.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On item 16C would be authorization for the county judge to execute the 2012 equitable sharing agreement and certification report, and also for the HIDA task force and for the district attorney's office, which is C1 and 2. If I can get approval?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 16D would be authorization to amend copier service agreement from .011 cents per copy to .11 per copy. That's a correction on that agreement, if I can get approval of that.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, also on item 23C1 is approval of 2013
Hold on,
appropriate.
what item, sir?
23C1. It's also for the HIDA task force.
20C.
23
C1 is approval of appropriation for the HIDA Task Force in the amount of $169,100.
So move.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Commissioner Palacio has one item that we need to,
What item, Raul?
it's number 23A, sir.
22A.
22A, I'm sorry, 22A, on page 10.
All right.
This is, it reads, Precinct 2 Road and Bridge, approval of 2013 appropriation of funds into Precinct 2 Dicker Road, Program 62, and Minnesota Road, Program 084. Those two projects in the amounts of $100,000 and $200,000 respectively.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Barbara?
Yes, sir.
And Judge, Barbara has a real quick update for the court.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Concerning water, in the late 1999, 1998, Dr. Guy Phibbs, our water engineer from College Station, came down here and worked with the irrigation districts, all 26 of them, and he identified all of the various problems, and then we funded 2 people that were on our district staff who helped the irrigation districts write the grants that they have gotten over these past few years. He is coming back again. He will be here on Monday, and we are one of the sponsors. He will be at the Knapp Medical Center in Weslaco at 11:30. That's Monday, March 4th. And it's going to be a seminar on water rights and public policy. It's $30, including the lunch. The registration is online at agriliferegister.tamu.edu. And it will be the Rio Grande Regional Water Authority and the COG. The speakers are Brian Shaw, Dr. Phibbs, Glenn Jarvis, and Edward Dracena, if anybody would like to participate. And I'm going to send the article that has come out in today's paper with these details over to the judge's office this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. And Yolanda, when you get that information, spread it around to the commissioners and any department heads that you think would be relevant for them to go. Valde, anything else?
Yes, real quickly, Judge, I apologize, but we did have one Chapter 59 submittal of 2012 Chapter 59.061 certification report for the Fire Marshal's Office. Agenda item 12A.
12A.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, Judge, to close up, item 26A, real estate acquisition appropriation of same, no action. This is under open session, item 26. Item 26B, pending under potential litigation, no action. Item 26C, EEOC complaint number 31-C-2013-00121 and related TWC-CRD complaint number 1A13190, Noe and Saldua versus Hidalgo County. Judge, Commissioners, representation was provided by Atlas and Holland for purposes of assignment today. I'd refer back to items 7A1 and 2. 7A is the exemption from the bidding requirements. If I could have action to that effect.
So move. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And 7A2 is the engagement with Atlas and Hall.
So move.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And now with 26C, I am also asking the court take action with respect to the resolution of Noe and Saldua versus Hidalgo County. I'm asking the court to entertain a motion, the approval of settlement documents that it will include a payment of $14,500 with the appropriate distribution and deductions as called for in the settlement documents.
Second.
Vale, so Atlason Hall was assigned previously for this case, or?
I'm sorry?
Atlason Hall was previously selected to represent the county in this case?
We'll discuss that after court. There'll be an agenda item for next week, but this was done through the former precinct commissioner.
All right, there a motion?
Yeah, the motion would be for the settlement.
Second.
Okay.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 26D, Judge Commissioner, I'd like authority to make an offer to settle the claim of Angel de la Mora, the amount of $285.
Need a motion and a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item 26E, again, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer to settle the claim of Victor Burton in the amount of $122.54.
So moved.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 26F, I'd also like settlement authority to make an offer to Patricia Aguirre in settlement of her claim in the amount of $450.
So moved.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 26G, EEOC number 31C 2013-00304 and related TWCCRD number 1A13371, Elizabeth Martinez. Judge Commissioners, I'd refer back to items 7A1 and 2. Item 7A1 is exempted from competitive bidding requirements. If I could have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 7A2 would be requesting engagement with the firm of Bobby Guerra, law firm of Bobby, Willett and Guerra.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And that was specific to item 26G, that representation. Item 26H, proceed as directed. 26I, claim of Daniel Silva, Senior, et al. Judge Commissioners, I'd like, again, to refer back to items 7A1 and 2. 7A1, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion
And
carries.
7A2, engagement with the firm of Preston Henriksen.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Again, specific to 26I and 26J, civil number 708 CV 217 USA versus 5.77 acres of land more or less situated in Hidalgo County, state of Texas, and Daniel E. Arnold et al. I'd like to refer back to items 7A1 and 2. Item 7A1, I'd like requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 7A2, requesting engagement with the firm of Atlason Hall and Rodriguez.
So moved.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Specific to 26J. Judge, Commissioners, that's all we have today to inform the court and the audience and everybody that'll view it tonight. We will be calling a meeting for Friday at 1:30 to finish up the action that was not acted on upon today's Commissioners Court agenda.
Well, so we're not,
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
we're not in recess. We're going to.
No, we're going to
No,
adjourn.
we're going to be adjourning.
Yeah.
And then we will call a
And
1:30 meeting.
unfortunately, we have to retire from this meeting room. The city of Edinburgh is in need of it, and we're obligated to do
Friday
it.
at 1:30?
Friday at 1:30, and we will be holding it at the old administration building, our old courtroom.
All right,
So
don't
moved.
we have another meeting on Friday also?
It was posted for the morning. We will cancel that, and we will combine it with the 1:30 meeting.
And that's to talk about what?
And that's for the Section 125 cafeteria plan, both under drainage and the county.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge
So
Commissioners.
you're going to repost that one, Valdez?
Yes, sir. I'll get with you right now. Angela.